Smoking Score. This is the first installment. We're here at Island Girls, 7060 Gate Parkway. 7860 Gate, 7860 Gate Parkway.
7860.
My bad. The first
That's all right.
installment.
I got
I
your
already
back.
messed up.
I got your back.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. My name is Leon Searcy. I'm a three-time national champion at the University of Miami, first-round pick, 11-year NFL vet. And this is Smoking Score. I'm the co-host. To my left of me is who?
Tracy Irvin. Yes. Of Ultimate CEO. You all know your girl. This is your Queen Diva, Ultimate CEO. I am crushing every opportunity. And we're so excited to be here with you all this evening for our Smoking Score Welcome Live with Leon and Tracy. We're here this evening with our very, very special and distinguished guest, LJ Holloway. We're excited to have her on with us this evening. A little bit about CEO. I would like to get into that, and then you can tell the people a little bit about yourself, Leon, because you special. You important.
I got my own brand coming out, too. Go in and promote your brand.
You important.
Potent?
You important.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, you are. Well, again, Ultimate CEO is your lifestyle brand. We are a brand that enjoys being around people with the lovers of the leaf. We enjoy engaging people, all of our out-of-town folks, people that just in love and are like-minded to come together and share resources, education, knowledge, not just about cigars, but about life in general, right, Leon?
Well, you know what? What is Smoking Score? Can I tell them or you want me to tell
you
them?
go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what Smoking Score is. First of all, Smoking Score is the love of the leaf. All right, I'm a brother of the leaf. You're a sister of the leaf. More 9 times out of 10, Tracy or myself are here at Island Girl, and we're smoking cigars. I have a love for cigars, not only because of the texture and the flavor of the cigars, but the community of the cigars, the conversations we have with cigars.
Absolutely.
And I got my own brand coming out, by the way. I know you say CEO.
Yes, we have an Ultimate CEO
Ultimate
cigar.
CEO cigar.
That's already
I got
out.
Leon Searcy's All Pro Series cigars coming out in 3 weeks.
Very good.
So I wanted to put that out there. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
But here's the thing. We love cigars. We call this Smoke and Score because we have a love for cigars and we have a love for sports. Now, we went through the cigar aspect of what we do, but we also love sports.
Yes.
All right? We're going to talk football. We're going to talk college football if there's a season.
Yes. And
Because everything that's going on with the COVID, we're not sure.
And we're also going to talk basketball, right?
Okay.
Because we got to talk about LeBron.
You're a LeBron lover?
Okay,
we're going to talk LeBron too
what
as well.
else?
But not only that, not only are we going to talk cigars, not only are we going to talk sports, we're going to talk community.
Very
all right?
good. That's
We're advocates of the community.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have people on the show that have influence within our communities when it comes to elections, when it comes to positivity, and also we're going to give small businesses an opportunity come and relay their businesses, because everything that's happened with the COVID, a lot of small businesses shut down. But we want to let a lot of people know that there's a lot of small businesses out there that need your assistance. So we're going to do that. So we got a nice little format that's going on.
Well, it's just like, Leon, like any good cigar. What constitutes a good cigar? Creation of a cigar has your filler, your binder, and your wrapper, right?
Absolutely.
Okay? And just like a cigar comes together, we want to bring people together.
Absolutely.
And to be able to share common interests and knowledge.
And it's all about positivity.
That's right. It's all about the love.
Keep it positive.
One love. One love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, we have a very distinguished guest here.
Yes, we do.
All
I'm
right.
so excited.
Why don't you introduce her?
She actually told me yes. That was great. That was awesome. That was awesome. So we have LJ Holloway. LJ Holloway is a native Jacksonvillian, and she hails to us coming from the U.S. She is now running for U.S. Congress for 5th Congressional District. So we're very, very excited to have her on. And during this time, this is a time for early voting, and people out there are getting ready to vote. So you got to go ahead and vote. And she's going to tell us the importance of making sure that you cast your vote, because right now, 2020 has been a beast, right? 2020. 2020.
We got to get somebody out of office. I said it.
Go there.
I said it.
Go there.
I said it.
You the yin to my yang, so I know you're going to take it there for me, Leon. But we're so excited to have her on. And LJ, we just want you to get started and tell us a little bit about yourself and just your background and just what do you feel like you have to offer for our constituents.
Well, first, I swear
are you on?
I swear this is on. You guys said it.
It is on. It's
testing. 1, 2, 3. Look, Tracy, as you know, like you said, I'm a 5th generation Jacksonvillian. However, what I bring to the, I'm not on.
Is she on? Okay. Okay.
Testing. I'm not on.
Okay, go ahead. But can we hear?
But can the people hear what the candidate
Well,
has
listen,
to
here you
say?
go.
That's
Take my mic.
improvise.
There you go.
All right, but can the people hear what the
Yeah.
candidate has
Do you
to
know
say?
if we can hear DJ? You know, like with anything else, this is our first time, so y'all bear with us. It's human. It's human.
To air is
Is
human.
that out? Hey, but to what is divine?
All right, so should we continue with this interview?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Let's
we're
go
going
on.
to continue.
Yeah, so, Tracy, what makes me the best candidate to represent the people of the 5th Congressional District is not only am I from the district and for the district, I am the most qualified to represent the people. As most of you know, Congress makes laws. I earned my law degree from the University of Florida, and the way we are going to change most of the things that are happening in our community and in this country is by changing laws. You know that this is Jim Crow 2.0. This administration has overturned so many laws, and we can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results. We need people who are not only courageous, but we need people who are consistent and who understand the Constitution, because the way we're going to change things is by changing the laws, which is why I am running for Congress, because you know that when America gets a cold, our community gets the pneumonia. And so we need people who are going to look them in the eye and speak truth to power and look, change things. I worked on Capitol Hill for Congresswoman Carrie Meek, and I have depth and breadth of federal experience. I sold the largest deal in history at the United States Customs. And what that deal, being able to close that deal, it showed that not only could I negotiate, but also that I can negotiate with people all around the country and multi-million-dollar deals. After 9/11, General Colin Powell said, thanks to LexisNexis, we were able to track down Al-Qaeda, and that was as a result of the deal that this little colored girl had negotiated. And so by the same token, I plan to do that by bringing money back to this district for not only small businesses, but we need to expand Social Security. We need to make sure that all people have access to health care. We need to make sure that dollars are not just going to private and charter schools, which is what your Secretary of the Department of Education, Betsy DeVos, wants to happen. We have to make sure that there is equity in education. You know that in this pandemic, there's a lot of children in Black and brown communities who do not have computers, who have not had education since the pandemic began, because when your mother or father loses their job, you know, like I know, that look, if it's tight, what's the first thing to go? Internet's going to go, and insurance is going to go. And so if you don't have internet, then you can't do virtual learning. And being poor should not be a crime. We know that the 5th Congressional District spans from Jacksonville to west of Tallahassee to Gadsden County. And Gadsden County is Florida's only majority minority county, and that's where Quincy, Havana, Gretna, Greenville, and Midway are located, right? But Tallahassee, 32304, and Jacksonville's 32209 are two of the poorest urban communities in the state of Florida. And we need someone to represent the people who is not only competent, but someone who is courageous enough to speak up for those people.
Okay, very good. And LJ, make sure that you look into that towards that way. I know I know I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
She good. She good.
We just want to make sure that the people can see your
Absolutely.
beautiful face while you
See your
talking.
passion. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
See the
absolutely.
passion.
But Leon, I'd like to also add on to what you were saying. Talking about small businesses, I've had my own business for 22 years now, a commercial and residential cleaning business, and now I have my Ultimate CEO brand. Because of how the funding has been, especially since COVID right now, it's a lot, because I didn't get any of the grants that I applied for. What would make that better in terms of helping small businesses get access to some of those different types of resources?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Tracy. There are several ways that we can make sure that small businesses get their piece of the pie, because as you know, small businesses are the heart of our community. But if small businesses don't have access to the information, and more importantly, you know that most small businesses don't have the kind of relationships with banking institutions that larger corporations do. And case in point, you know, with the PPP and the EIDL, We hear about companies like Ruth Chris getting millions of dollars, but then small businesses that are hemorrhaging cannot get funding. So that's why it's so important to have not only community development corporations that will facilitate money not just to small businesses in urban communities, but we also need community development corporations in rural areas, because rural areas have small businesses too. And if you are a small business in a rural community, where are you getting that information? Where was your congressperson? Did your congressperson send out an email or a pathway to let you know how you can get money or funding to sustain your business during a pandemic, right? Bigger than that, we have the Small Business Administration, right? Where is the Small Business Administration in this? Now, we do have a Small Business Administration incubator here in Jacksonville, but it's at UNF. One, the average small business is working in their business, right? And so you don't know, that there is an incubator at UNF. And so you have, if the people are not coming to you, you have to go to the people. And as your elected congressperson, I make that commitment, if you were to elect me, to make sure that you have the information not only to sustain your business, but to grow your business. Because you know that when small businesses hire people, that means the community is strengthened and crime goes down. Because when people have employment, they feel good about themselves. And then you can have access to not only health care, but also affordable housing. I am a proponent of small business because I'm a serial entrepreneur. And as the founder of All About Healthcare Advocates and the president of LJ Holloway and Associates, Inc., I know that struggle. But bigger than that, Tracy, we need to make sure that small businesses, and in particular, minority businesses, are poised and positioned to compete. Are you 8A certified? You are a woman. So look, you may be qualified for to get that preference, that government preference, as a small and disadvantaged business. But if no one tells you how you can register and become an 8A certified business, then you don't know, right? So it's important that you have a member of Congress, but not just a mentorship, but a member of Congress who will bring people from SBA, who will tell you how important it is for you to have a Dun and Bradstreet number, who will tell you how important it is to make sure that you're poised and positioned to compete. A lot of people applied, but if you have not been in business for more than a year, guess what? Or if you had not filed your business taxes in the last year, then you didn't qualify. But who was there to tell the community of all those parameters? But then you have all these people who got the money who were fraudulent. So where was the oversight and the guidance? So in addition to sharing the information, we also need oversight and guidance to prevent a lot of these companies who are receiving funds and who were not eligible for them, and to keep from penalizing those businesses that may have been able to qualify but just was unaware, or who did not have the banking relationships.
That's great. I love that.
Now, LJ, let me ask you a question. What is, in your assessment, the best opportunity for the disparity of wealth between whites and black? What do you think we need to do as a whole, as a community, to marginalize that gap between white wealth and black wealth?
Well, that's about, y'all give me a mic, because that's loaded. Hey, that's like a 450. That's like a 450-year question.
That's our 400-year question.
To be exact, 450 years. I mean, because the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1865, right? And we know that members of Congress, since Congressman John Conyers, have tried to get reparations. But one of the ways that we can help to eliminate the disparities in the income inequality, or the wealth gap, if you will, is one, to make sure that not only that there is equity in education to start from the bottom, because we have to start from the bottom and start with the children who are coming, but we're boomers. But also we have to make sure that there is equity, and we level the playing field. And so I'm not saying be equal. I'm saying make it just.
Financial literacy, maybe?
Financial literacy is just one
component.
It's just one component. That's why I said education. We have to make sure that look, people are knowledgeable, but also that look, even when you talk about financial literacy, there are different levels of financial literacy. I mean, we know that it is so very difficult for small businesses to go from 6 figures to 8 figures, right? And so that's why it's important to make sure you understand how to compete for federal dollars, because we know that the Department of Defense and we also know that Department of Transportation are 2 of the largest expenditures. But back to your question, how do we eliminate that? One, we start by making sure that people complete the census, and we also make sure that when people complete the census, they understand that that is how we apportion the dollars that come to the federal level. And many people, especially in the Black community, I'm Black, so I can speak from the Black perspective. In our community, we don't share our information because we believe in keeping our business. But I am trying to impress upon people, in particular people of color, to complete the census, because that census information is how dollars come to our communities. That's how we get more money for schools. That's how we get more money for hospitals. And that's how we get more money for roads and infrastructure, right? And so they do that by apportionment. And I worked on Capitol Hill for Congresswoman Carrie Meek, who was on the Appropriations Committee. And you see certain districts get trillions of dollars, and then certain communities only get millions. And it's typically because of the apportionment and completing that census, but it's also in the representation. So not only do we need to complete the census, but we also need to make sure that people vote. Now, a lot of people feel like, hey, why should I vote? It doesn't make a difference because we haven't seen any real changes. And so that's why you should vote. We should hold the people that we elect accountable. And when people don't do their job, what happens? They typically get fired. And so we need to fire people who don't do their job. That's just point blank, period. But to answer your question, the way we eliminate that is by leveling the playing field. And I believe that starts with equity in education, because if I were on an appropriations committee and there was $100 billion to go to education, well, if there's a school that has private and public partnerships and they have 500 computers, and then there's a school that does not have public and private partnerships and they need 500 computers, equity means you give 500 computers to that school that doesn't have the computers. Being poor should not be a crime, and this is a war on poverty, so we have to level the playing field, period.
Now, let me ask you one more question. I mean, I know the upcoming election, against Trump and Biden is important, and I'm sure people won't come out to the polls, for the upcoming election. But how more important is it that we vote at the local and state level that affects the laws and bylaws that govern us in the counties that we live in?
So, I'm telling you, man, look, okay, that wasn't even a setup. I swear that wasn't a setup. So let me say that the primary is going on right now, and it's so important to participate in all elections because all elections are local. The primary is going on right now, and so the primary early voting began on the 3rd, but it ends on Sunday at 6 p.m. So if you have not cast your vote, please make sure that you make your way to one of the 18 early voting sites and cast your votes. That's number one. But number two, make sure you cast your vote for me. For a better day, vote LJ Holloway. But that was a shameless plug. I had to give that, right? I had to give.
Well, I love that. That was beautiful. I
had to give that, right? But election day is actually on Tuesday, August 18. That's this Tuesday, August 18. And the polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. And why is that important? Not only will you have congressional races on that ballot, but there's also judicial races. Who will represent you as judge? Jacksonville has the opportunity to elect its first African-American judge. Rhonda went to law school with me. And look, so Rhonda Peoples Waters will be on the ballot. You also have 3 House district races. You also have school board races. And all of that is important. Every issue we've talked about here at this table tonight that affects the people in this community will be decided upon on Tuesday. And so you need to participate in the process, because whether you participate or not, a decision will be made. So you might as well participate, right? And have some say so. So please, if you have not cast your vote for Congress, if you have not cast your vote for judges, if you have not cast your vote for state house representatives, if you have not cast your vote for city council district 4 or for school board, I would implore you to make sure you cast your vote. And if you don't have time to vote on Tuesday, make sure you go and participate in the process before early voting ends on Sunday at 6 p.m. Again, for a better day, vote LJ Holloway.
Thank you so much for that, LJ. I wanna add. You have your connection is very compassionate for the people, but you have a humble spirit. I know that you're a published author, correct? So can you tell us what motivates you to do what you're doing and do for the community and be able to have that connection that kind of just intertwines just with us everyday folk?
That's another shameless plug. Reach in that red bag and get that audiobook. In the pocket over there. Don't take my money out now. Look, just get the audiobook. Okay.
I need no drink. I need no cigar. Listen.
No, on the side. On the side, you'll see like a little audiobook. It's red. Tammy, you act like you're scared. Okay. Hi. All right, so bring it to me. So what I'm going to say to you is, or slide it under the table so you don't be under the camera. So let me say, Tracy, I'm so glad you said that, because today is actually my second birthday. Today, of course, is August 14, and some people know and others don't know, but the fuel that really keeps my passion going is the fact that I know that I have a second chance. This is my second birthday because I had a brain tumor and couldn't walk or talk, but the doctor said that I'd be dead. And so no man knows a day or hour. And but clearly those doctors didn't know what they were talking about. Look, because God is. I am here and I am fighting for the people. And God, I know that God has called me for a time such as this because he knew he could trust me. And so you see before me this audiobook, but I also have a hard copy. This book was actually written on this day 12 years ago. I was actually in the hospital. Mind you, I had a brain tumor, could not walk or talk. But although I had blood coming out of every orifice, my hands still worked and my mind was still working. And God was downloading and I was writing. And this is a result of that. This book was actually written in the hospital. And I talk about some of the things that happened. But I will tell you, it was a long road, but I am back in stride again, as they say, in the words of Frankie Beverly and Mays. I'm back in stride again, and I am running to represent the people because I know what it's like to have to pay $2,000 a month for an injection. I know what it's like to have a pre-existing condition and not be able to get insurance. Thank God I was working on Capitol Hill, and knew Elijah Cummings, who represented the hospital, Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, and was able to get an appointment. But when I initially called Johns Hopkins, they told me it would be 6 months before I can get an appointment. That's right, I said 6 months. When the neurologist said you need to get to a neurosurgeon yesterday. So I knew in my heart that while I had those relationships, the average American did not have those relationships. So it was so very important to me to make sure that all Americans had access and an opportunity. I started All About Healthcare Advocates for that reason, to be able to help other patients. But I am running for Congress to not just help patients, but to help all people, because everybody deserves a chance at life and everybody deserves to have an equal opportunity. We tell our children, to pledge allegiance to the flag, and we say one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and with justice for all. Well, we know that there's not liberty and justice for all. We know that this country is very divided. And while sometimes people like to say there's race, we also know it's between the haves and have-nots. And there's a lot of people who don't have access to health care, access to affordable housing. And I am running to represent all people. For a better day, vote LJ Holloway. And this book is available on Amazon.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazon.
Now, LJ, one more question for me. What would you say to that individual who feels that they won't amount to anything. That their vote won't count. That it won't make a difference at the local level, at the state level, at the national level. What would be your advice to that person and the kind of power or influence they will have if they go out and vote in these next primaries?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked that question because I get that all the time, and I tell people a decision's going to be made whether you participate. A decision will be made whether you participate or not, right? So although you may feel like no one is representing your interests, know that the federal minimum wage has not increased in 10 years. But guess what? If you participate in the process and hold the people that you vote accountable and make phone calls, look, use the tools that are at your disposal. Look, and make them work for you. I believe that there is more power with the people than there are people in power. But if you don't exercise your right to vote, then you don't have that power. Your vote is your voice. So I say exercise that right.
LJ, you're awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Ray Charles can see.
Hey, you're awesome, LJ.
I already knew
Totally.
I already knew what we were doing when we
Oh,
invited you. I
absolutely.
just wanted the people to know.
Oh, yeah.
I just needed them to know. Very good. LJ, I'm telling you, as we wrap it up, we want to tell you how much you appreciate sharing just your information, your education, your resources, your knowledge, and your experience. And thank you for giving to the community of which we need this. We need it more than just 2020 and everything that's going on with the pandemic. The people need you. They need your idealism. They need you. You want to say something?
No, I mean, I am honored and humbled to be on this, your first inaugural podcast. I mean, look, this is only the beginning, and it's only one way up, and that's to go up. Look, so you got LJ Holloway today. Who knows who you'll have on the next broadcast or the next podcast, but I expect to hear a lot about Smoke and Score because it is smoking. Look, I mean, we got two lovers of the leaves. Look, okay.
We got smoke hovering
We
there
got
above
smoke
us and
hovering.
everything.
I mean, look, we couldn't have. Look, this is awesome. I mean, look, this is definitely. Oh yeah, we got the smoke going. Look, I mean, look, Smoke and Score is going to be hot. So look, if you haven't tuned in tonight and you're watching this after the podcast, I'm going to tell you to set your clock and set your watch. Tracy and Leon, it has certainly been an honor. I am just humbled to be your first guest, and I know this is going to be one of the number one podcasts in the country. So tune in, people. Again, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. We appreciate
you guys keep talking about 2020.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, 2020 is vision. This
And
is
listen,
visionary.
go vote.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Vote.
Local, state, and nationally.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
If you want change, that's what you need to do.
Exactly.
LJ, it's been a pleasure.
No, the
You were
pleasure was all
awesome.
mine. The pleasure
You've been
was all
awesome.
mine.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay and hang out.
Yeah,
whatever
absolutely.
you wanna
Listen,
do.
listen,
We'll
grab
get
you a
a
cigar,
drink.
get you
We'll
a
get you a
drink,
drink.
everything. That's what we do
We'll
here.
make sure we're forcing her hand, so just so you all know, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
her.
It is peer pressure.
it's peer pressure.
But
it's
she's
peer
more,
pressure.
hey, you're more than happy to stay and have a drink and
You're
smoke.
more
every
than
night.
welcome.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to do.
Thank you,
floor is
LJ.
on
You've been
you.
awesome.
Thank you again, LJ.
But Trace, I mean that's important. I mean, listen, if you want to affect change in your community, I mean, I know the national vote's important,
Yeah.
but if you want to influence police, if you want to influence judge, you want to influence politicians within your community and your county, you've got to vote locally.
to vote.
You got to vote locally.
You got to vote. And then also to influence the young people. And people are always
Yes.
talking about our generation, our next generation, what they're doing, what they're not doing. Well, how do we make the influence?
Yes.
How do we make we have to influence by
You do.
voting.
You have to-
we have to vote. We have
You
to
can't-
influence them to vote.
You can't wait every 4 years to vote.
Exactly.
I mean, voting goes along every
All the
all the
time.
time.
All the time.
And I think as a community, as a whole, we neglect that sometimes.
Correct.
We wait 4 years and we're going to vote for the next president. But how are you influencing the police? How are you
Locally,
influencing
yes.
the
Your
judges?
neighborhoods.
Your neighborhood.
Your neighborhood.
The bylaws that govern your community.
That's right.
You've got to vote on a more of a consistent basis, not just every 4
That's
years.
right.
You got to vote every year, every 2, every 3, every 4 years,
That's
whatever.
right.
If you're going to effectively change your community, and what's going on.
Absolutely. You're totally correct, Leon.
Yeah,
That's totally
absolutely.
correct. That's
Yeah.
totally correct.
Yeah.
Well, we again appreciate LJ being on with us on today. And again, we do want to thank and just put a shout out to Island Girl is where we are now located. You can still come out. We do have a live audience here.
7860
7860.
Gate Parkway.
Gate Parkway,
Gateway.
yes.
The
In the-
general manager, Cindy,
Cindy
gave us this setup.
Cindy Day, she's
Yes,
amazing.
absolutely,
We
she's
really
amazing.
truly appreciate her and all she does to support us and support the Smoke and Score live podcast. So come on out if you want to come out, have yourself a drink, have a cigar, do what you want, and we will be here. Not all night, but we'll be here.
Listen, I'm gonna get LJ a cigar. She gonna smoke a cigar.
You gonna make her smoke it?
If she ain't never smoked one, we gonna get on one. Oh, we get something mild.
We'll get a little start with something like
Something
a little
light,
Java or
you know,
something like
something
that.
Java,
Little
something simple,
yeah.
whatever.
Maybe
you know,
Groovy Blue, something like
you know
that.
what? A morning smoke, you know, that she can have with a coffee.
Little
in the morning.
coffee. Yeah, you know, smoke your cigar with your little coffee.
She might
LJ.
get. She might get addicted.
Yeah, she might.
She might.
Then she'll become a SOTL. Do you know what that stands for?
Cause I'm a slave. Hey, listen.
A sister of the leaf.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yes.
We're a slave to the leaf.
We'll say, don't start.
Cause
Don't
we
start.
here every day.
Yeah, we.
Every
Wait a
day
minute
we
now,
here.
Leon. Don't be telling my secrets
You
on
are
the
here.
live now.
Hey, listen.
That was my twin.
Do we do 100 here?
It never happened.
Do we do 100?
It never happened.
Smoking score. Do we do 100?
It never happened. It never happened. But again, we're moving right on, and again, some things that because it is called Smoke and Score, and Leon is our distinguished athlete, my co-host. We want to get into a little bit of the topics that are affecting our community sports-wise. So, what you got happening, Leon? What we got happening right now?
Well, let me say a little something.
You gonna say a little something?
I'm gonna say a little something.
Say a little something. Okay.
And you're a mama, and you have a son. You have a son, and I actually ran into your son. I
told
did. I
me.
ran into your son.
He told
It's
me.
a small world.
Yeah, he was like,
It's-
"Mom, guess who was outside?" Oh,
Exactly.
you want me to tell everybody smoking a
Don't-
cigar?
Yeah, I was outside on the patio smoking a cigar, and your son walks down the sidewalk
I
and
saw
says,
him.
he was like, "Hey, don't I know you?"
You know
I was
my
like,
mama.
You know my mama. You doing a podcast with her? I said, "Yeah, I'm doing a podcast with her."
Right,
But-
right.
But we're gonna talk a little bit about Florida State.
Okay, what's going on with Florida State? Give it to me.
What? And you're a mama.
I'm a mama.
There's an athlete at Florida State. His name is Warren Thompson.
Correct.
Warren Thompson plays at Florida State, and he had some issues with the protocol that was handled at Florida State. Now, he didn't go into specifics, but he was vague
Right.
on social media
Okay.
on the issues at Florida State. And he's been hammered. He's been character assassinated for the last 2 days.
Okay.
But he said that Florida State didn't have the proper protocol health-wise to keep the players safe at Florida State. Now, you're a mama,
Yes, I am.
and if you had a son who was playing football, which he loves,
Yes.
and he called you up and said, "Mama, I don't feel safe at Florida State," what would your reaction be to that?
Well, Leon, let me tell you first of all, my son's health and his life means more to me than any sport. Now, I know you're an athlete. I love you to life. But I'm going to tell you something right now. My son's health and him being here with me another day means more to me than what he would be doing as being an athlete. Although he has the passion for it, the love for it, it's in his DNA to play. But I would say I wouldn't be with that. I am not in agreement to that. Because I would want him to be safe and for him to be healthy, unless they could.
But-
Now, don't they have the money and the revenue to
They're
be
the
able
resources.
to? They got the resources now.
See, wait
a minute. LJ won't in.
Here's the contradiction to what he said.
Okay,
now.
okay.
Right before he put out the text on Twitter, like 2 days ago,
Okay.
the governor, the chancellor, and the president of Florida State said everything was in place for protocol for the proper safety of the players. But he said when he went there, it wasn't intact.
Now, Leon, now you already know there's a difference between somebody telling you something and you seeing something. Now you know how it is. Now I would trust my son's judgment based upon what he sees. Because he knows what he's right there in live living color, and he knows. And listen, he's a young person, so if he say it's not safe, I would tend to veer on the side of
Caution.
Absolutely.
Caution.
Absolutely.
Because you're a mama. You're going to be on his side to the end.
Well, and
Even if he's wrong?
Well, listen.
Even if he's right, even if he's wrong.
No. I'm not that kind of mama.
Okay.
Now I know.
But I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
No, now I saw the Twitter post
Okay.
that he put on social media, and he was vague.
Okay.
He wasn't specific. See, my problem is he wasn't specific
on what
exactly what it was.
Okay.
And listen, I'm in a different era. I'm a dinosaur. Okay, I'm an old guy.
You're a little old.
I
but
am going.
still-
I'm a
you're
dinosaur,
all right.
and I'm under the belief that certain things should be kept in house. So if he had the specifics of the problems he had with protocol, he should have went to the coach. He should have went to the coach.
Well,
go ahead and speak. Hey, there's LJ. Where's LJ go? Let us speak. Let us speak.
jump in for a
I'm gonna let
minute.
you first.
Let
I'm
me
gonna let you
jump
go
in.
ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
first of all, if the coach should have already been informed. That was to me. That was
Well,
already.
the coach didn't find out until he went on social media.
Let's get to the brass tacks.
Come on,
have
come
to
on, LJ,
interject.
jump in for me.
I have to interject. First
Jump
and
in.
foremost, the onus should not be on the player. That's number one. And number two, we all are adults. We know that everything is green, and it gets down to the brass tacks. Yes, the young man may love the game, and he may have been vague on Twitter because one, he didn't want to be blackballed. That's number one. And you know
Okay.
that
That
you know
happen.
you know that
That will
collegiate-
happen.
Collegiate sports is big business, just like the
It's a
NFL
money.
is big business. It's
a
about the
money.
money. And you know, like I know, that the sports programs at most major institutions fund the whole school. We know that. We know that sports
That's
funds
true.
most of the school.
Yeah.
And so that's why they were fighting so hard to get schools back open and to make sure that
we could
athletes
take that-
and to make
oh
sure
gosh,
that
we could take
athletes
that a
can
whole
play
nother level.
because that is the bread and butter of the institutions. So no sports, no revenue. And that's why they want those kids out there. And first of all, I don't think that children, teachers, or educational institutions should be on the front line. That's
with that.
number one. We are in the midst of a pandemic. And I do believe that your gifts will make room for you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so because
Oh,
that
yeah.
young man is talented and because he had the courage to come forth, guess what? If Florida State decides to make a mockery of him or to not give him the playing time, guess what?
yeah.
I mean, that's probably what will
Well,
happen.
he's getting a lot of backlash
Of course, he's getting a lot of
from the
backlash.
alumni
he
base
is.
Well,
that he
you know,
came
at
out.
Florida
Now
State,
he
there's
might be telling the truth.
I believe that he is telling the truth because young people, in particular athletes,
If they
love the
speak
game.
up, yes.
And he
But-
wants
but-
to play,
but
but he
let me-
also wants his life.
But
Is it
LJ, let me
worth
ask
dying over?
you this question, LJ.
You may.
You know that 18, 19-year-old kids, young men, can be disgruntled, can be emotional, and he could be tying the coronavirus in with the fact that he's not well recepted by the team.
You know what? I guess what, if he was able to get recruited to, I mean, FSU is, I mean, a Division I school. If he was
Absolutely.
able to get recruited to FSU, there are a million other schools that would take him. There are some D1 schools that, you know, there are some other schools that will take him. So I don't think that is the issue. I think if he's complaining about PPE, I believe that that is truly an issue. I don't think that he's lying, and I think that's why he tweeted it, and because he may have said something to one of the
That's what
to
I'm
one of the
thinking.
coaches,
That
and it didn't go
already-
anywhere.
yes,
And
exactly.
that's why
They may
went
say
to-
that he did
Yeah, that's
not,
why he went to
but,
social
yeah.
media. This is a business. This
Yeah,
is about
it
green,
is.
and I don't think we
It
should
is.
put it on the player. I think that we need people who are in power, like representatives who will make sure that the program is shut down until there are 14 days and no new
I
cases.
totally agree. But in that reference and everything you said, I totally agree with what you said. But football in its nature is violent.
And it's a difference
you
between
know-
violence and death.
No,
Yes.
no.
Because I'll fight you.
You're right.
I'll fight you all day long.
You're
but
you're
guess
absolutely
what?
right.
If you pull out the gun, my ass
But
will run.
you're right. Listen,
If I don't have
I love that.
my dad.
Steal that one. I
Listen,
like that.
LJ, my dad used to tell me it's better to say there he run than there he lay.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So that's what I'm
Absolutely.
saying.
Exactly.
So it's one thing to want to play.
I
and
totally agree
and
with
look,
you.
and be on the gridiron. I mean, it's a violent sport. Yeah, I don't think it's violent. I take that back. No. I don't think it's violent, but I think
Oh, it's violent.
there.
I think it's a
It's pretty
contact
close. It's
sport.
pretty
No,
close. It's pretty close.
No. It's car crashes every 3 to 5 seconds. Trust me.
And you
I've
would
played
know.
it.
You would
I
know.
wouldn't know.
You would
it's
know.
car crashes every
Yeah.
3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm going
All
to
right.
take your word for
Okay.
it. But what I am
And
going to
there's long-lasting effects
Effects. Yeah.
afterwards. So
To
with the
the life.
coronavirus, and I'm not comparing
life
the
or
two,
death.
it's life or death.
It is.
That's right.
It is.
I'm not saying
Now we're
football is
dying
life or
over it.
death, but I'm saying that football has a tendency to have the after effects
That's true.
once you finish playing.
Likewise. And
Well, I
same
think he
thing with-
reserves-
Same thing with coronavirus. I mean, that we are finding that, look, it affects people's lungs and it also affects their heart. And so I don't blame him. I have not found a sport that's worth dying over.
And I think he reserves the right to have support.
That's right.
And to get someone to support
Yeah.
his findings and what he's saying. I think he
Now-
he deserves that
Now,
right as a player.
I didn't mention that this is not his first time being receptive to issues with Florida State. He's had issues
Oh,
with
he's
them.
had
So
past.
this is not, he's had past issues. He has a repertoire of going on social media and complaining about the institution. So
But
this is a lasting effect.
but
that
sometimes
he's had.
people can use that against you just
I agree.
because.
I
Because
totally
he is
agree.
courageous.
Doesn't
enough
mean
to-
he's
because he's
wrong.
courageous enough to step
Doesn't
up.
mean he's wrong.
Yeah.
Because you know, like
Yeah.
I know, there are programs that have certain reputations of winning and playing at all costs. And so I am going to say Florida State is one of those institutions that have a reputation of playing and winning at all costs. I actually had a relative who was a basketball star at Florida State who got death threats because they kept giving him injections and he refused to get any more injections. They wanted him to play even when he was hurt. So look, you know, because those alumni are serious
They
in the
are.
institution. I mean, the
The bottom line is dollars.
the bottom
It
line
is.
dollars,
It
exactly.
is.
And he was getting death threats, and that was back in the early '80s. That he was getting death threats, and so that institution and that program, look, has a history of playing at all costs because it helps to sustain the institution.
Well, you know, there's a fine line to me between someone who is courageous and someone who's a whistleblower.
Exactly.
I mean, he may just be courageous in what he's doing and always speaking.
Exactly,
Absolutely,
exactly. And so many
absolutely.
people will continue to go along to get along
with
because
it.
they want that spot,
Right.
Or they have that dream, not realizing that your gifts will make room for you.
There you go.
And they go along to get along because
There
they
you
either
go.
want that spot.
Well, listen, I know this is a different era. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a dinosaur. I mean, I don't. Most
We
of the time,
understand. We believe you.
You
We
said
believe you.
First of all, I ain't old as you.
We believe you.
I ain't old as you.
Okay.
All right, but anyway,
51. Okay.
I'm 50.
But anyway.
go ahead with it. But in my assessment of when I played at the University of Miami, if I had an issue with a player, with a coach, with a head coach, if I got information that I wasn't comfortable with, man to man, I go to the coach. I say, hey, coach, you know, I don't like what A, B, C is going on.
But that may have
A
been
lot,
the
but a
culture
lot,
there.
but a lot of these kids now, because they have the
It's social
format
media and
they have the platform,
They'll do that
instead
first.
of them saying, "Hey, coach, here's the problems that I have."
They don't have that dialogue with
Here's
the coach.
here's the assessment of the problems that I have, and I go to you.
Yeah.
A lot of these players just jump on social media, and I say, once you push that button,
Yeah.
you can't take it back.
You can't come back from it. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, in my assessment, if the problems that he had at Florida State with the protocol of the coronavirus, he should have went to the head coach.
Yeah, he
should have said,
And
"Hey,
he
coach."
didn't go.
And who's
He
to-
didn't.
and who-
And now he's the backlash of him not going to the coach. He's being character assassinated based upon the stuff that he did way back, and I don't think that's fair.
Well, as you can see, smoke and score can probably solve the problems of the world.
No, we can't.
But
But go ahead.
But anyway, that's our goal. Not seriously. But you know what? There is something my grandmother used to always say, and y'all know it. There's my story, their story, and the truth. So we don't know what might have happened if he went to a coach, if he tried to have that dialogue. But I do have a concern as being a mama, as you say, for this young man and what he.
Well, as a daddy too, yeah. I would have.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
You daddy, right?
Yeah.
Who's
And
the
my-
daddy?
Huh?
You the daddy? Who's daddy?
I'm saying, hey, listen. You know, my son 2 years ago had a scholarship at Florida A&M.
Okay.
He played football, and if the coronavirus was prominent during that time, I would be concerned. But I would say to my son, hey, you love the game, be safe, be careful, and do your thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't assess my concerns on him if he loves the game of football. I wouldn't say, son, you can't play football because of coronavirus. I wouldn't do that.
Now, I would say that he could play, but if there was no safety
Precautions.
precautions, then I would say don't put your life in jeopardy.
It doesn't mean enough.
Yeah,
It's
I
not.
would say don't put your life in
Yeah.
jeopardy. I mean, yes, I mean, we all have things that we love, but will you die over it?
Yeah.
That is the question. And so I'm saying, yes, by all means play, but make sure that there are
You feel safe.
That you
Yeah.
feel safe. I mean, would you play with something? One, are they testing? I mean, the temperatures
Constantly.
Are they cleaning the locker? You know how nasty locker
Yeah,
rooms are.
I know.
Yeah,
Trust
you're
me,
right.
I know.
Right, you
We
know
some
how
filthy
that-
beasts. Go ahead.
So during
Yeah.
this pandemic, if that's not happening, should he put his life in jeopardy?
Yeah.
No.
And that's a great.
And you know, people will be diagnosed and don't tell others
That's right.
that they have the disease, and so
and affecting other people at
Well-
the same time, and they don't know
Well,
it.
here's the biggest
And it's
problem.
contact
Yes, exactly.
Here's the biggest problem with college football. Okay. We already have two conferences that say they're not going to
Big
play
10
football: the
and
Big Ten and the
Pac-12.
Pac-12. So, but the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 say they're going to play. It's all about, of course.
fans will make you dance.
All right. Absolutely. And I'm not necessarily concerned about the starters or the second team guys. But what about that third team player?
Yeah.
The prima donnas are gonna be protected.
Yeah. What about the disgruntled player who's not getting any time? Are you going to be able to keep a 17, 18, 19-year-old from going to the club, to the bar, to the strip club when he's not happy with his playing time? I think that's what college.
All the more
I think
reason.
exactly. I think that's what college coaches are so afraid of. It's not necessarily the guys that are playing, but the guys who are not playing, going to the bars, the clubs, and the strip clubs, coming back with the virus, intermingling with the players, and giving the rest of them the virus.
Well, I
But
think
it's
that's all the
also-
more reason
that's all the more
going.
reason why you should
That's
cancel the
right,
season.
and taking it
I mean,
seriously.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's all the more reason.
Too much money. You can lose some
But
money.
you know what? I think what's going to happen, just like we saw with the NBA at the beginning of the pandemic, all it takes is for one player to be infected, and then the season is shut down anyway. Are you going to jeopardize every
Affect
player
everyone.
and players with other teams? That is not
Yeah.
responsible. I mean, I understand that money is on the table, but guess what? I think they should cancel the season, or at least delay the season till there's at least 14 days of no new cases, or until we flatten the curve. I mean, it's just
Well-
not worth it, because those kids won't be alive to play. And do you really want the blood on your hands?
Well, I'm just going to say this because I'm an alumni of the University of Miami.
said-
And I
We
want
know-
no,
we
no,
know,
no,
but
no,
we know
no,
that.
no,
We
no,
know
no,
this.
because
We know
no,
this.
And I went on
Leon.
I went on Manny Diaz's page on Twitter, and they said he had 3 rounds of testing with no COVID 19 cases.
Okay,
So for whatever reason, my university gets it done.
we hear you.
All right.
We
We
hear
hear
you,
you.
but-
Shouts out to Bethune-Cookman University. That's where I went anyway.
And
That's a
another
whole nother
shout
story.
out to all the historic
HBCU, HBCU, all day,
all
every
the
day.
HBCUs, but there's only
Hey,
one Mecca,
I'm glad
and that's
you brought
Howard
it
University.
Tracy, I'm glad you brought that
Okay,
up.
go right ahead.
What about the classic?
Oh, no.
I listen. No, what? No, listen.
well-
No, listen. I talked to the head coach at FAMU about 2 weeks ago. I talked to the head coach at Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
You talking about $500,000 to $2 million of lost revenue?
Yes.
But the games can
Yes.
resume in the spring if we don't flatten the curve. Because guess what? If they play and they're dead,
Then that's
nobody.
it's gonna
LJ,
be for naught.
Let,
Yeah.
Let me ask. Okay, if there's no fall football, and you play football in the spring, you're opening up Pandora's box. You know what's going to happen? These players are going to ask for some kind of compensation because
That's interesting.
you are the notion of student athlete is out the window, because if you have spring ball football, what about classes?
So they'll have classes in the fall, just like they go to class in the spring and they play.
You
in
know
the
they don't
fall.
go classes in the fall.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But because if there's no football, then they'll go to classes this fall and they'll play in the spring. It will just be the converse.
You think so, really?
Even if it doesn't happen, at the end of the day, the world won't end.
It won't.
That's
If
true.
they-
It won't.
if
It
there's
won't.
no-
It
they won't.
won't. That's a good
You know-
point. Yeah, that's a good
the
point.
world
She's
won't
right.
end.
That's a good
You know
point.
what? You know what? I was talking about this
But they're
a
like
day
a
ago.
million.
We can't treat this virus like the boogeyman.
Right.
Where we're in the bed, scared underneath our
No,
sheets
you're not
and
gonna do
everything.
that.
I'm
You're
not
not going to do
saying
that.
No. I'm saying that a majority of the people, if this pandemic carries on to next year, we got to somehow find a
have
way
to
to
be safe.
exist.
Right.
But
but
we
we
have
have
to have
to
a
be-
monochrome of safety, though.
Yeah.
And precaution.
have to
We
be
still have to
safe,
be
though.
smart.
Yes.
We have to be smart.
God gives us
How we
we have to be
move, how we
safe.
walk.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah, yeah.
saying don't play the game,
Yeah.
but as the young man said, look, it was not safe.
was not safe
if
enough
they're
for
not
me.
cleaning and there's no PPE, so
His opinion
what
matters.
is the plan to clean?
Yeah. Mhm.
Show us, look, there should be a log. Have you hired more cleaning staff? Because you know, like I know, look, most institutions, let alone elementary schools, you're talking about colleges, look, have they hired, I mean, they already say they don't have money in the budget. Have they hired more custodians to clean? I mean, we know what
That's
locker rooms
very
are like.
important. That's very
And
important.
here's my assessment on the kid. Like,
And with the PPE, are they giving them enough PPE? Are they just giving them one? You know, you'll sweat out a mask one practice.
Yeah.
True.
Now, so you all see, she is so versatile. Okay, she knows about it all, the sports and everything. Listen, so for a better day. That's right.
I like that. I like that,
You
too.
like that.
I
Don't
do.
steal that. You can't get
I
a
guess-
rhyme.
I
You
guess
can't get a
so.
rhyme. So,
Oh, we got a campaign song too, but we can't.
we can't do that right now.
Oh, we could.
You mean- Okay, so listen, there was something else you told me about, Leon, switching gears, because we're going to talk about something I love, the NBA. We
yeah.
going to the NBA now.
Yeah.
Now,
Talk about
now-
LeBron paying
No,
fines and fees for felons.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
We're gonna get to that because this is LeBron's co-show, not co-host, but co-show. But anyway, listen. So was there something about conjugal visits?
well,
You know,
well.
in the NBA
Let me-
before the playoffs. I mean, we're trying to
Let me mention.
come on. Get into
No,
it.
that's every game.
Get into
Well,
it now.
okay, well,
Get
here-
into it. I mean, you know,
what happened a couple of? Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you, if LeBron was mine.
Oh Lord.
And he was playing, and you know we need to do a little something for give him a little gift before the game. Come on, what's up?
A little something,
A
something.
little something. I'm just saying it's all fair and love and war.
Well, this is what happened in the NBA 2 days ago.
Okay, all right.
Adam Silver, you know the NBA is in a bubble, all right,
Right.
and they've had testing, and no guys have had the COVID, which means they don't let any guys out, and they get quarantined if they leave the bubble, whatever. And you know now there's only 16 teams. There was 22. So the 6 teams that didn't make the playoffs, they get to go home. So there's 16 teams. The playoffs start on Saturday. So Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, said he's going to allot the players in the playoffs to be able to have visitors, 4 family members, a wife or a girlfriend. And
Significant other, something.
I'm saying,
Yes.
I'm just saying this. I was a professional athlete.
Right, you were.
I was.
You were.
I was,
I
whatever.
was.
Conjugate
And I
verbs.
know if I've gone through training camp and I haven't had activity,
Activity. Okay.
I'm gonna need some activity.
Okay.
Now, I used to do it my own way. What I used to do is I get in the hotel, I get the first room, I rent it out, and I use that.
Is
But
this
that's a
my-
lot.
is
That's
this
in the
my line?
that's in the
We
book.
like
Hey,
line.
listen, that's in the book. That's in the book that's coming out in 30 days. But I used
Shameless
to
plug.
Yeah. So that's in the book coming out. So what Adam Silver is saying is, like, if you have family members, a wife or a girlfriend, we're gonna allow them to come into the bubble, you know, days before they start the playoff.
Right.
Which essentially, now these guys aren't in jail, but I talked to you earlier about
Right.
it sounds more like a conjugal visit,
Correct.
which means that their wife or their significant other or
their
girlfriend.
side piece. Maybe.
Side piece.
Boyfriend, let's keep it
Don't-
real.
Could be. Let's
Stop
be
it.
politically
Stop it,
correct.
LJ.
Let's be correct.
LJ, stop
We
it.
do have a politician in the house.
Stop
Let's be correct.
it.
We got to be right.
I tried to keep it clean.
No,
We
the
gotta be
politician
right.
is
But the
politician is real, and
But-
she
but we
knows
gotta be right.
that. Look,
You're
everybody
right. Gotta
don't,
be
But
right.
everybody
the
don't swing the
NBA
same
is
way.
allotting that. What is your assessment of that?
My assessment is right on. Right on. Because you know
Literally.
what? Right on. Right on. Because you know what? That's a health matter. That's a health hazard. I mean, you might blow up or explode and you can't play at your greatest capacity. If you're accustomed
Make
to
your
a
head
certain-
pop off.
Right. If
Okay,
you're
right.
accustomed to a certain amount of exploration, of the prolification, of the situation, I'm doing a little Jesse Jackson for
What are
you.
you, Dolomite? You sound like Dolomite. You pulling all these words together. Go
hey,
ahead.
hey, Leon, I'm all for it. I'm all
okay,
for it. I'm all
okay.
for it. I'm just going to say that, what's wrong with that? Hey, it's probably something that they were doing anyway. And so why stop it just because is it COVID that people are up in arms about it? Is that what it is? Is it because of the pandemic
Well, I
that
think
they're being so...
I think the concern is that there's been no positive tests, and they've been in this bubble.
They're trying to keep it
So
contained.
you don't know who your wife or your significant other has been around outside the bubble that they may bring into the bubble. I think that's the more
That's the
concern
most
about it.
important part about it. Well, what do you think, LJ?
That's my concern because we are in unprecedented times.
True.
And unprecedented times
True.
call for unprecedented measures.
True.
So now, if the league is going to test the significant others or
Yes,
loved ones,
absolutely.
4 days before they
Absolutely.
engage in activity,
Absolutely.
then why not have a conjugal visit?
Why not?
Look, I mean, to procreate is biblical.
Hey, it's it's part of
and
life.
it's healthy, right? It's a part of life.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we want to make sure,
Oh, sure.
that all people are safe. So if they're testing the 4 family members or the 4 persons,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what a person's inspiration is for playing. Does a man play because he wants to provide for his family? Is his young child, his inspiration for playing? Or does he need, his
Mm-hmm. That
significant
support,
other to
that
do
support
something
system.
special before the game? At the end of the
Exactly.
day, look, different players have different motivation and different rituals before the game. And if that includes your family or those significant others or that significant other, why not?
And some people may be on a time crunch because, a lot of couples are out there these days trying to bear children. And they may have to have a time situation. It's time sensitive that they get busy at a certain time.
Well, let me just say this to you.
So-
When I played, I made sure that I didn't make love 2 or 3 days before the game.
That's right,
Because it's draining. It's draining.
Well, yeah.
Y'all have a tendency to drain people.
Well, we're not gonna get.
I'm just being. We want me to be.
We're
is
not,
this-
we're not gonna get into your capacities, Leon, and your
I'm
capacities
just
and what
saying.
you can and
Listen,
cannot do.
listen. Hey, listen.
Because LeBron capacity and your capacity might be two different
It
things.
might be, but I'm
So
telling
I'm
you,
just saying.
if I got a game on Sunday, I ain't looking for nothing on Thursday.
Well, LeBron said,
Well, maybe Thursday, but not Friday.
"I'll gladly give you a hamburger today."
I'm just- I'm saying you're gonna need some energy. I'm just saying, but no, but yeah, the NBA is trying to assess and accommodate these guys for already being in the bubble for the last 2 months.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And they've been
and
quarantined.
listen, you've been in the bubble for 2 months
Yeah.
and you haven't seen your kids.
Yes,
You haven't seen your kids. You haven't seen your wife.
that's important.
So I mean,
That's important.
that's important. So I mean, if they take the precautionary measures to make sure they temp everybody and the kids with, because the last thing you want to do is pass this on to your wife or your
Oh,
kids
definitely.
or whatever. So I mean, I understand.
But I think the families, they would want to take their own safety into consideration as well. I don't think that they would do anything that would be detrimental to their health necessarily. So I think
Yeah.
that they would be very smart about it.
Absolutely.
I would think, So,
Absolutely. But
You
listen.
can't say that all players will and that all persons will.
Definitely.
So even,
You
talk
take
about
that extra step.
But you talk about a team of 22 players, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have 22 players on a roster and one person
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
of course.
is infected,
Of course.
then that affects the whole team. So, it's some.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now let me ask you about that player, Lou. I think with the L.A. Clippers. He left the bubble.
Okay.
He went to his friend. His friend's daddy passed away, and on the process of going to the funeral,
On the plane.
he went to Magic City to get some wings.
He went to.
Right.
He
You know what Magic
He was
City-
hungry. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Now,
He was hungry.
now,
He was
no,
hungry.
well,
Go to
listen.
strip club.
We didn't say he was
Well,
hungry
listen,
before,
well, let me
but
just-
he was hungry.
well, let me
Everybody
just-
know
let
the
me-
strip club got
Yeah,
better
well, he
food.
was hungry.
But let me just say this now. Magic City wings are the joint.
They are
Okay.
good. The food is
They
good.
might
Well,
have
I wouldn't
ratchet
know.
strippers, but they got good food.
No,
Stripper-
but I'm just saying.
Stripper wings are good.
Yo, I'm
But you don't go to Magic City
It's in the hood.
and pick up the wings
Yeah.
and don't stay there.
Right, you gonna stay.
And I'm gonna tell
you
you-
might
I'm tell-
you might
I'ma
throw
tell
some
you
money and
I'm
touch
gonna I'm gonna
some.
tell you how you got caught. Let me tell you how you got caught.
How you got caught? Yeah.
So he went to Magic City to get some chicken tenders, which was in his name. They have their own chicken tenders in his name. So he went to Magic City. He got the chicken wings that in his name, and a rapper was there. So a rapper took a picture of them two together at Magic City. Now he posted it on
Wow.
Instagram and Facebook.
That was smart.
Now the guy with the Clippers said it was an old picture, which lies because when you take a picture,
Oh, yeah.
it's dated on
Yeah.
social
Oh,
media.
oh, yeah.
And it was some backlash because the Clippers are in the contention for the championship. So he was suspended and quarantined
Right.
for 14 days.
And he should have been.
He should have
He should have been.
Yeah,
He definitely should. Yeah, he
not only
did.
The championship, the
He
team,
did.
and
But did he
the
really?
money that
The
was
wings
on the
good
line.
though.
Listen,
Come on now.
I don't care. if he
I'm
was going to
joking,
get
I'm joking,
chicken-
of
I don't care if
course.
he was going to get chicken thighs, chicken wings. What we
But
get.
they were good though.
Listen,
They got good
he was wrong for
Them
that.
stripper wings ain't no joke.
He was wrong for that because he jeopardized and put people's
He did, he
life
did,
and their health
he did.
at jeopardy
He did,
doing
he
something.
did.
He didn't have to get those wings that day.
He
That
did.
wasn't necessary,
He did.
So yeah, in a case of like that, definitely you're talking about someone. He should be fine. He should be quarantined. They should make an example
They
out
did.
of him.
What they did was
Because-
they didn't fine him or suspend him, but he was quarantined for 10 days.
Yeah.
But he should have been.
He should have been. I think so too.
But for the fine, other players will
They won't-
probably,
they'll
I mean,
think
some
about
people
it.
will pay the costs. You know what I'm saying? So, but for the fine, other team members may decide I've had enough.
Yeah.
I need to go to my friend's funeral because we all are experiencing death, right? So they should have fined them
Yeah.
to keep it from happening.
Yeah, yeah.
We need regulation.
The NBA, I tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what. NBA and strippers. That's what.
It goes together.
Somebody in our live audience say that's why you do to-go orders. It was actually my business partner, y'all.
They're not a sponsor. He could have won the Grubhub. He could have won the Grubhub, and they would have brought it right
He
to
had been in
him.
the bubble for too long.
The stripper wouldn't have brought it though. The stripper wouldn't have brought
I
it.
know that one problem. Well, guess what?
What? What
I'm
time
looking
is
at my
it?
clock.
How long have we been?
We got 2 minutes.
Wow, this has
this
been
been-
amazing.
oh, my
This has been
goodness.
amazing. But you know what? One thing before leaving, Leon, I do want to also mention we love our cigar manufacturers, people that not only smoke with us and our friends and our brothers of the leaf and sisters of the leaf. We love our cigar manufacturers and vendors, the one that create these beautiful leaves. And tonight I'm smoking a Perdomo, shameless plug for my buddy, my main man, Nick Perdomo. I'm smoking the 10th anniversary champagne. What are you smoking on tonight?
Well, technically, I can't say what I'm smoking on because my manufacturer and my owner told me to take the label off
oh.
because my brand is coming out in
Okay.
a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But my distributor, Alex Menendez,
Okay.
and my partner, Howard Grubbs,
Mm-hmm.
is creating the Leon Cersei All Pro Series cigar.
Very good.
That's coming out in 3 weeks.
Very good.
So
Excellent.
but this is
Well,
this
you
is
know,
usually my go-to stick,
It's
even though I can't mention it,
right.
because if I mention it, you're gonna go buy it and it don't make me no money.
Well, guess what? We all a family here. We're also something you call FOTL, which is Family of the Leaf. So
Yes, we are.
we love everybody, and Ultimate CEO has our own cigars. Well, we have
Absolutely.
our Maduro and a double Maduro, and we have our barber pole. But always we have a lot of cigar vendors that have been supporters of us.
Absolutely.
And they have pushed our brands along, because in the cigar industry, it's a little interesting. People come out and support you, and they help because we want to keep the regulation, because it's some bad regulations going on. I don't know if you know, LJ, about the cigar industry and the taxation. Yes, absolutely. So it's very difficult. So we cigar people have to stick together. It's very important for us to stick together. So we do love our vendors. We will be having sponsorships that will be available for some of our beautiful cigar manufacturers. So if you would like to join and be a sponsor of the Smoke and Score Live podcast, please send us an inbox. You can call me on my phone number that will be available also within the thread. So again, we appreciate you creating some great sticks. We're working on our own leaves brand. So we're excited about all that the cigar
Absolutely.
culture has to offer. It's a great culture.
Absolutely.
It's
Tracy,
a great culture.
guess what?
What?
We finished our first episode. Ain't that so?
Yes. Yes,
Hey,
Leon.
Listen,
I love it. I'm excited.
I'm Leon Searcy,
And I'm Tracy Irvin.
and you have just witnessed Smoke and Score.
and Score. See you next time.
You got it.
Bye.